So, super brain yoga, correct. That rings a bell. Super brain yoga. Is that connected with that guy or what? Is there a super brain yoga? Yeah.
It's called super brain gym. They say it connects all parts of the brain to the body. We do it with children who have learning problems. It says it improves the comprehension, reading ability, and also able focus. So all parts of the body is involved there.
So that particular exercise, it integrates the whole body processes. That's
Yes.
what.
Yes. So
And so
doing
you're
it for multiples of 7 we have to do.
multiples of 7, and you're teaching this to your children there also.
Yeah. Yeah, we do it regularly in the classes.
Okay.
So all the reading, spelling, all the academic related is focused on that. So the
Focus
ear
on
is
that.
connected and we put our tongue up on the palate. We connect the ears. So the whole body system is integrated.
Actually, it is activated also. It's more like.
Wow. Amazing.
It helps the children a lot.
Yeah, so Kalpana is a teacher in Chennai, and so she's doing it. She's implementing it with the children. It's
Kalpana
nice
and
to
myself used to work together, Mahadaya. Guruji.
Oh, Gayatri, really?
Yes.
All right. So Kalpana, tell us a little more. What do you do? Do you start the day like this with a prayer, or how do you do this?
See, we have children come to our classes. They have particular period when they come. When they come, we do this. But whereas school is fully learning difficulty, we have only special children. We start with the prayer and then we do this brain gym with super brain yoga. So we start the day with that. It actually helps the children to focus, pay attention.
Wow. So the children with some learning difficulties, they have some.
It's benefit for all the children. It's not
Yeah.
only more beneficial for them, but it helps all the children. If we start the day with that, even for us, it's helpful.
Right.
So what is the protocol that you follow?
Sorry?
What is the protocol that you follow? You say we do this. What do you do?
We just say like super brain gym is right over left. The hand should be right over left. And the thumb should connect the earlobe. The front should connect the earlobe like this. And then we breathe. The tongue should touch the palate. And as we breathe in, we should sit down. As we breathe out, we should get up.
Tongue should be twisted upwards.
Yes.
Okay. Like that, it should touch up.
I think you need to pinch the earlobe also.
Yeah, pinch the earlobe with the thumb.
Thumb
Is
and
You have to press it.
pinch it. Yeah.
Yeah, pinch. There is.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So there was an article this was practiced in one of the counties in Los Angeles. And a few years ago, there was an article published in their national education, something that people with autism, kids with autism, they say that after some period, they went from F grade to C grade in their normal
F grade to C grade. Oh.
Yeah, that was there. Actually, if you Google super brain yoga, there is a ton of them, especially in YouTube is there. It came in once in local TVs here, but I know there was an article I remember to have read. It was published in some educational journal. I don't remember the name, but because so that was also they mentioned in a way all this action and all that.
Okay.
Also, Jaykumarji, there's a disabled children, especially, here also I have heard about it. Here the teacher used to talk about it. the left and brain activity. They hold the, they do tongue left side, and then you have to look at right side, and then do that right side and do the eye left side. They also do that activity. And then how I used to talk to the teacher. Oh, when we are all little, as a punishment, we used to hold the ear like this, and then because I was little bit naughty, almost every day they used to make me, in the primary school, hold my ear, both the ear, and then make me sit down for at least 15 minutes. I was telling that they used to do it, but I didn't realize the reason they are doing it to sharpen your brain or whatever, so I have heard about it, and then they used to tell me, yeah, they are doing all this brain, this one, it's like increasing also the memory power, so she said that that's what they are all trying. It was long time ago, almost 10-15 years ago. So it is true, it is there, they are doing all that.
So now I know.
Yoga teacher.
Now I know why we stopped doing it. Do you know why? Now I know why we stopped doing it. You just gave me the clue. Because we relate this to punishment. Mentally, we think this means punishment. So who wants to be punished? So we stop doing it. We don't do it. Mentally, we are connecting it with punishment.
But in
That
most
is
of
how
the
it was
yoga
meted out.
exercises, we do this all that, right? We do that.
Yeah, yoga teacher makes us do it.
Yeah,
Even
so that was the, whatever the reason. But and then also they do like 7 mudras, they also say it is connected to brain. So they used to do this, do this, all that they do it. So it's very interesting to know that there is a reason for all the mudras.
acupressure points.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. So yeah, Narayan, if you can send me a link to this video later, I want to send it to a friend of mine who's working with autistic kids. So I'm just curious about that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. I'll pause. Oh, yeah, Premaji, please.
Guruji, in the context of your talk today, you're saying the mudras help in diluting past karmas, persistent thoughts, negativity, etc. The chin mudra. And you also said after doing that, you make an affirmation, nothing haunts me anymore. If you could just elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah. So the context in which I said this, is there an echo? Okay.
Not clear.
Okay, now, all right. So, see, when a child undergoes traumatic experience, okay, and go ahead and mute yourself, Premaji. I'm going to mute you. There is some echo here that I'm hearing. So, this is where the problem is. A child is growing up, and if it undergoes a traumatic experience, like the death of a caregiver, mother or father, and the child is hardly 3 or 4 or 5, it is a big shock for the child. Adults, it's also a shock, but the shock is handled. Adults have the capacity to handle the shock. But the child has no way to handle it. Okay. And so what happens? There is a natural phenomenon where the child forgets what happened. This forgetfulness, this avarana comes and takes over. Avarana Shakti comes and takes over, helps the because the child will collapse. Every morning, if it thinks of the mother, it will collapse. So the Avarana Shakti comes and then it just goes to play. Even though the mother passed away just 2 days ago. A man cannot do that. An adult cannot do that. But the child can go and play. How the child can play? Happily it is playing. And then it comes home and it may cry. It'll ask for mom, 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 and cry. So this is called Avarana Shakti. So what the Avarana Shakti does is, it pushes that memory, that pushes that trauma outside, push it away from active memory. Let's call it subconscious. Pushes it inside so that it's not available. It's not available for the child to think of. Now what happens? This is a great thing. This is a great, so what happens when somebody gets injured in an accident, okay, and they get injured, they're மூணு அப்படியா சரி ரைட். So when an accident occurs, what happens? And the person is injured, blood is now flowing from the legs and all that. What happens? That guy goes unconscious. This going unconscious is a similar Avarana Shakti. So that during that period of intense pain and experience, the mind says, I'm going to block you off. I'm going to make you unconscious. So you don't know what's happening. And then you can come back to later. Okay. And so that same Avarana Shakti, medically you can explain all these things, but I'm talking about this psychological aspect. And so now this child, that traumatic experience is pushed back, and then a child grows up, is able to grow up. It was so important for this to happen. The child can grow up normally, but then this traumatic experience is not processed yet. Not processed. Unprocessed traumatic experience is sitting in the back, sitting in the subconscious. And then what happens when the child relaxes, when there are moments of happiness, joy is when the mind is free, unfettered mind. Then what happens? This unconscious comes out. That suppressed trauma just comes out. Comes out means what? The mental process is such that the past hidden trauma is released because the mind is free now. The mind is free, and then it wants to come out, and it comes out. And then suddenly what happens? During this joyful experience, suddenly there are feelings of guilt and hurt and fear and things like that. The sudden feelings of fear and all that, if one of us experience, it is because some past trauma is just come, is unprocessed trauma is there. That's coming on. Okay. And this is what I meant by when I said, I'm no longer haunted by the past. This child, when she grows up, she will have all these weird experiences, and which often happen after marriage, because marriage, there is a happy union. It's a period of happiness for everybody. And during that joyful period, this happens. And the husband won't understand what's happening, or the wife won't understand what's happening to the husband. What happened? You were okay. Then this, that, sudden shouting and all that. What shouting? Where did this come from? Where did this come from? It came from your past. It came. The Avarana Shakti is now releasing it out. And then it suddenly comes out. Nobody knows why this guy is like this, or why the girl, that lady is like this. Nobody knows, because it's some past experience. That's why they have all this past life regression and all these therapies. They're doing that because they want to release all that pent up past subconscious. They want to release it. And they make, I was talking to this past life regression therapist. They make the person go back to the past and relive that experience, so that you slowly come to terms with it. You have to come to terms. And so, but then not everybody has the luxury of going back to the past and regression. It's all okay. Some people can do it. What about the rest of us? Puja, connecting with Ishvara. Puja is the time where you connect with your Ishtadevata, and then you begin talking to the Ishtadevata. We argue with God. This is when arguments will come. Why did you do this to me? What did I do to you? Go have a debate with Ishvara. Bhagavan say, karo, vad karo. Let it happen. Don't do vada. Lock yourself. Close all the doors and then do all this vada. Be angry with God. Correct. That's it. Angry with God is all coming from the past. And do it, keep doing it. Keep doing it until it's no longer needed. No longer needed. Processed. So this is, even though I didn't have all these things in mind when I said no longer haunted by the past, this is what haunting is. Past haunting me is this. Typical. Typical. Of course, when traumatic experiences happen for an adult, then also this process works. But an adult is able to face it, talk about it, and condolences are there, this, that, everything. So there are processes in place which will help the adult. Adult also needs that emotional help, and but adult also needs to process it. Can't run away. Can't run away from this. This running away, we all run away because it's very unpleasant. It's sometimes, and so talk about it. They say talk about your traumas. Have good friends. Talk to your friends about your trauma. Cry it out. Cry it out if you have to cry it out. It's very important. What to do? Family members passing away, family members struggling. These are all traumatic experiences. We all go through it. So we need to talk it out and then talk out with friends and then come back home and then talk it out with Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the best therapist. Talk it out with your Guruji, Swamiji. We said, Swamiji, for us, Swamiji is our go-to. And we talk all our problems to Swami. Therapy. We need the therapy. We need the therapy. Urgently need the therapy. Sooner the better. Sooner the better. Because it blocks our normal living. It doesn't prevent us from living normally. Go ahead, Premaji.
At a non-verbal level, when the baby is very small and loses its mother or father, or whoever the caregiver is, how does this surfacing of the trauma come into the conscious world as to be understood by an adult? Because the child was non-verbal. It couldn't express itself. There were no words to express its grief or loss or pain. So how does it come into, is it a process of the avarana also to clear it in that way?
See, just like your pressure cooker, there's a lot of pressure inside. It has to come out sooner or later. And either it is slowly cooled and then the pressure is gone. Or the pressure, if it's even more, it just releases, keeps on releasing. It has to come out somehow or the other. And so, for us also, it's coming out. It's coming out. And the times when it really comes out is in good relationships, harmonious relationships. When a relationship is harmonious, say between husband and wife, that's when the past trauma will come out because the mind is relaxed. Mind is relaxed. Whenever there is a relaxing experience, like the person is now taken to music and it relaxes the person, and then suddenly all this past will come. Past will come and it will show up. Will show up. People who know what this is all about can recognize all these symptoms and say, yeah, this is happening. Allow it to come out. Allow it to come out. Allow it to come out. Allow it. Don't stop it. Don't say, no, I should not do this. No. Allow it to come out. As long as it's not hurting others, becoming violent and all that. That's can't do that. And so that's the process. It's a natural process where I'm using the word pressure. And so unprocessed, I'm sure Swapna will have some words in psychology they use for these kinds of things? Swapna, what is the technical language for all these things?
For memories are it's repressed, regressed, right? So yeah, it's a long process, Guruji. Yeah. Sometimes yeah, trauma manifests in so many different ways. Yeah, there's a lot of research has been done. A lot of books have been written. Right now, I'm reading a book called "The Body Keeps the Score," and it talks about how the body keeps the trauma and how it is important for people with severe childhood trauma. They lose touch of their body, and how healing happens once they are made to connect with their body. So yoga plays a big role in making that connection. Yeah, trauma is it is yeah, a lot. Childhood trauma is just very, very hard. Adult trauma is different, right? People who go to war come back post-traumatic. That's that is separate. This is separate. Um, because children can't make sense of what is happening to them. And when they don't have control, right? So the body goes into this. Naturally, we are designed to go into this fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? So children will go into the freeze mode because they don't have control. They can't fight, they can't fly, uh, get away. And it is happening every night, suppose, right? It's childhood sexual trauma, whatever. So they just freeze up. And a lot of their memories, they just create an imaginary world for themselves to protect themselves. And the body remembers all that. And then as they're growing up, things just keep coming up. And with proper help, okay, but then a lot of them, then they go into drugs and alcohol because they're unable to cope with those feelings. So I don't know if I answered your question. I think you were asking for a term.
Yeah, that's right. So no, I mean this is adult trauma, childhood trauma, freeze, fight, flight, or freeze. I think that's generally we talk about fight or flight, but that's for the adult. But for the child, you have to bring in freeze zones.
Yeah. Yeah. So even such children, when they grow up, right? When when they experience threat, their body automatically freezes. That's the learned behavior, right? They feel powerless. And they go back there. They regress back to that, and they don't understand why I'm like this, why I'm not able to. They're just stuck. That's why the first connection is to make with their bodies, to connect them with the body, align that.
Bring them back to quote unquote reality, starting with the body.
Yes. Yeah. So grounding, right? Grounding with these five senses.
And what Swamiji used to say, when we study Vedanta, the mind relaxes. Because it's very relaxed. Vedanta is very relaxed. As somebody used to say in our class, Monday morning boost or something like that. Okay. So relaxing. Vedanta is relaxed. And so when the mind is relaxed, this adult who is now 50 years old suddenly all these things start coming out. All symptoms start arise. Vedanta. And then these Vedanta students wonder what's happening to me. I thought I'm studying Vedanta. Things should get better, right? Things are getting worse. Ah, things are getting. Somebody would say that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Allow it to happen. Allow it to happen. This happened to me also. So, thanks to Swamiji, he said, they let it happen. Then we have to allow it to happen. Amazing. Amazing.
Vipassana was Vipassana when I went for my first or second, first, I don't know, both I guess. I've gone to two Vipassana camps. Yeah, it was, there was, I was just crying. I said, I just couldn't make sense of it. And then afterwards, right, the second, it released those pains that I was holding on for so long. And then things started falling into place, and I was so thankful for that experience because now it just felt different. It like things were clicking inside my head. It's not that I was learning anything new. It was the same knowledge which I could make sense. But that release had to happen, and I was so grateful that it happened. And all this time I was holding on to it. I didn't know I was holding on.
You don't
So
know.
this 10 days of silence just it does something inside. It just and it was so needed. That grief coming out was so needed. I didn't get it till went through it.
Catharsis. In English, I think they use the word catharsis. Which means
Yeah.
that emotions just come out. You were in a good environment and where the process it could happen.
Yeah.
And you allowed it to happen. So that's why we have to be alone sometimes. Periodically, we have to be alone because these things can't happen in public. We have to process it ourselves. We don't know what's going to happen. We just allow things to allow Ishvara to just take over completely. Then let the processes happen. Very beautiful. Good. So I think I remember your Vipassana experience you had mentioned before.
Guruji, one of my friend had a major surgery. She had experienced some physical trauma around age 3. She forgot completely about everything. So when she was given anesthesia just before the surgery, everything just came like a flash. Her memories, everything came in a flash for her. All the past bad experiences she had at around age 3, it just came in front of her eyes, and then she had to go for counseling.
At what age this happened?
At age 3, she had some trauma. When at the around age of 48, she had to go through a surgery that time. Everything just came through on the hospital bed.
So prior to the surgery, when the anesthesia was given,
Yes.
somehow he was able to recall the past memory.
Yeah, it just came in a flash in her memories. Just in front of her eyes, she experienced everything that had happened to her.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then she went for counseling to help herself. She was holding on to it.
Okay.
Then she got help through counseling.
Okay. Okay. So everything came back to her memory, and so she knew all the details also, including all the
Yes.
details. So
Yes. Vivid memories came back.
very interesting. Very interesting. That's why we always say we have to we have to, our connection with Bhagavan is the only savior, really speaking, because we can't rely on all these. Tools are available, help is available. But only a fraction of the population can make use of that help, really speaking, because it's too advanced. And so our rishis always have said that just do what your parents used to do and then follow the traditions, customs, ritual. Rituals are so important. And so connecting to the bodies of nice saying yoga. Thankfully, thankfully our children are now being taught yoga. Everywhere in schools it has become very popular. So very popular, but doesn't mean all schools also under pressure. So they'll find a way to reduce all these things. So people like Meera and Narayan have to go to these schools and say, we can do this for you, we can do that. So yeah, so that's well understood, and our Shastram also mentions it also. One Upanishad, Mandukya, Sakashayam Vijaniyat, just in the passing, Upanishad says that. Sakashayam. Kashayam, Upanishad uses the word Kashayam for all this. That Kashaya is there. There's still a lot of garbage in the mind, and it has to be released. And so he says the study of the Shastram is going to be accompanied by the release of Kashaya. What a statement that is. Not like our ancestors did not know anything, So they knew what's going on. Good. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.